Hello, everybody, and welcome back to SpiderHearts Minecraft episode survival series, whatever you want to call it. So, a lot of stuff has happened. I've tried to record this episode multiple times. I'm trying to figure out settings to make sure that videos encode correctly and all that stuff, but this time OBS is saving to MP4 instead of MKB, so hopefully that does the trick. So handful of things. We've gone exploring shipwrecks. We got a diamond and an enchanter, and I'm looking at sort of making this sort of a floaty, wizardy kind of enchantment setup. I found an ocean monument. I know where there's a village. Also, I went into the nether and brought back a bunch of blocks and created this hallway. I really like the way that tuff mixes in with the basalt and the cobbled deep slate, and I really like the sort of transition that you can get between the basalt and the tuff and cobble into stone. Here's what this part of the yes. These are some barrels that I can keep stuff in for if I want to go into the nether. The nether, right now, is not particularly interesting, but there's a basalt delta out this way, and then there's warped wart and crimson wart over that way. And then down here I've been sort of messing with the new blocks and playing around with how they mix together, and it kind of gives this whole area kind of a sort of rundown dungeon kind of look. I really like the way that tuff looks like sort of worn cobble, and then dripstone can either look like roots or like water damage, rusty water damage. Then there's the pauldrons, which I've been really just using to make a lava bucket, and then anytime I need to smelt anything, I can. This is a mob farm that generates only creepers and spiders, but it doesn't work very well because of the way that mob spawning works. So I'm going to have to rethink that. And then even further, because I'm using the Caves and Cliffs preview, I didn't really think about how much more space there is when you've got 64 squared more blocks to work with in a single chunk. And I've been kind of doing some strip mining and stuff like that. It's been really difficult to find iron and diamonds, and it's been really sparse. So I'm probably gonna want to look into that village soon, and I'm gonna want to do some major farming, which I've never really done before, but it'll be a fun learning experience. So I have maybe 3 or 4 goals that I want to accomplish for this series. The first big one is cool builds, obviously. Then the second big one is farming. I want to learn how to make automatic farms and make them well. You know what? I don't really care too much about making them well. I just care about learning how to make them. We'll follow some tutorials and we'll do something cool with them as we go. Thirdly is going to be sort of exploration. I don't want to stay in the same small area. I want to branch out and do builds in different places, beat the dragon, get an elytra, and use shulker boxes and all that other stuff. Lastly, I'm really enjoying, or I'm being really inspired by Etho and the way he builds his hallways and his worlds, and being able to like just play around with the blocks and experiment with things. And I want to do that too. I'm gonna be sort of experimenting with builds and with block palettes, and I want to also sort of make hallways that kind of follow the generated terrain and stuff like that. And then there's other stuff too, which is why I picked the Caves and Cliffs update rather than um just doing 117 the way that everybody else is doing it. And to be honest, I'm really excited about it. What I want to do now for this episode is to just do a bunch of building. And I think what I want to do is make a little pathway that kind of snakes through here. And then maybe set up foundations for a tower that kind of goes up this way, and that could be my storage room. So I can just get started. And here's what we've got going on. Now, this is by no means final. It's important to get a general shape of what you're looking for with an easy to break block like dirt before putting in the final details. So, the idea is that we've got this pathway that used to be used a lot, and it snakes up and all the way around the mountain, but it's not being used anymore. So the bridge is falling apart and it's worn down in places. It's sort of fallen into disrepair. And I really want to go for like this sort of dynamic look of not just falling apart, but like literally falling. At the moment, it's just about getting the right shape, because then after that, we can start working on the actual block palette. Since it's still early game, I'm still dealing with limited resources, and I'm kind of the person that like doesn't really like to spend a ton of time grinding. I'd rather be spending time building. But at the same time, I understand the importance of project management and making sure that you have the resources that you need on hand. It's still a bit messy, but I'm just gonna go with it because I do like the way that the blocks sort of dynamically fall, and we can change things once we start putting in an actual block palette. I do really like the way that this part of the mountain looks, so I'm gonna keep it. So over here, the path is going to be nice. The mountain has protected this part of the path, and so it's going to be the best part. And we can use that to sort of show like this is what the path looked like in its heyday, in its glory. Maybe a little worn down over the years, but not so bad. But then over here, we can do what Mumbo likes to call ruin it. Start to add in like more disrepair, more neglect, add more like dynamic time. I'm not as experienced as other YouTubers when it comes to making complicated builds. And so I'm pretty, I'm not very confident at it yet, but when you use all the tools at your disposal, then there's room to be able to grow and to do the things that others can do. Also, question is, what should I name my dog? I don't have a name for it yet. This episode has taken way too long for me to finish, and I would like to wrap this up for today. So if you like this video, please give it a like. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and subscribe for more. I'll see you later, guys.